Today I'll share my impressions about this multi-talented, high-spec device from Topping. Let's see how it performs. I really like this device on the outside. It's a simple but stylish design. With this sort of soft touch finish I really like, but on the other hand it's a fingerprint magnet, and I'm not sure can you see that on camera actually, but I left some fingers here that I cannot easily wipe. You also get a convenient remote. It's small and plasticky, but very functional and responsive, and I think it's a great addition. On the back there are USB, optical and two coaxial inputs. And also, different from many DACs, you have wireless Bluetooth connection that I actually tried using and streamed some music from my phone. And to be completely honest, I expected it to be inferior in sound quality compared to wired connections, but it wasn't. Everything sounded just fine and I couldn't hear any notable difference. Also, music was never interrupted, glitchy or anything. It just worked nice and smooth, and its job well done on that front. It's also rotatable and detachable if you don't want to use it for any reason. Now, let me connect the power supply so you can actually see the display in front. Okay, it's not connected to a PC, but I'll try to turn it on. Okay, so you can see we have big orange display, and you can actually choose the level of brightness, highest, lowest, medium. So that's very convenient too, in my opinion, because I liked listening to the music in dimmed room and I don't want it to be an annoyance. Now, regarding outputs, we have usual line output on the back, analog line output, and headphone jack in the front that actually has a dedicated headphone amp. And you can easily switch between inputs and outputs using this remote control. So it's very convenient to use. It is easier using a remote control for controlling the device, but we do have control knob in the front, and you can use it to change inputs, outputs, or control volume, and it has nice clicky response to it. I really like it. Now let's talk sound. First, I tested it with headphones and I used mostly AKG K92 and ISK HP 580. The sound I got was very detailed and open. Dynamics and bass punch were not as pronounced as on Topping NX4, but both were good enough by themselves. The sound is very pleasantly open and fluid. Soundstage is wide and vocals are especially nice. They're present and full-bodied. And highs have pleasant sparkle to them. All in all, I'm very happy listening to my AKGs through this little guy. Now, Topping NX4 sounds a bit bolder and more dynamic to my ears, while DX3 sounds more open and velvety. I don't think there's a clear winner here. If I were to listen some lively rock and pop, I would choose NX4, but for some jazz or some other vocal music, I would definitely prefer DX3 Pro sound signature, because it's so nice and smooth and really pleasant. Now, all of the impressions so far were in a low gain mode, which has plenty of power for my AKGs. But Then I actually switched to a high gain mode that you can activate simply by pressing this M button here. So M button, it writes +9 decibels on the screen, everything returns to normal. You can also quickly switch it back. And let me tell you, there are some important differences switching in high gain or low gain mode. In high gain, sounds have substantially more bass punch and overall dynamics, but it loses some of that fluid and velvety character I praised before. For most music genres, movies and games, I actually preferred high gain mode. But if I were to listen Norah Jones, for example, I would definitely switch back to low gain and enjoy her full sandy voice in all its glory. So it's actually a very good thing in my opinion, because you get two different sound signature in one box. And you can switch them depending on your headphones and preferences and type of music you're listening usually. Next, I wanted to try it as a DAC connected to my amp and speakers. So I switched to the line out. It says DAC here. I tried it in preamp mode with volume controls enabled, then in so-called DAC mode, which offers full line out signal without any volume controls. Then with different kind of output filters, you get 6 of them. And you can also easily change them using this FIR button. By default, it's set to filter 3, but you can choose any of them. I'm sorry to report that no matter which one you choose and which settings you use, DX3 simply doesn't sound that great. Now, the sound may be okay in isolation if you're coming from some cheaper sound cards or integrated PC solutions, but it's also thin and flat. Bass extension is not that great, and dynamics is low compared to basically any decent DAC, including Topping's own NX4, D30 and even D10. Yeah, D10 is actually better sounding DAC with more clarity and dynamics than DX3 Pro. Of course, D10 does not have headphone amp, remote control, wireless connection, but being the plain old DAC, it's definitely doing a better job at that. The same goes for D30 and NX4, of course. They both sound much fuller and livelier compared to DX3. Now, I know this kind of harsh statement can get this review some tough love, but I just can't sugarcoat this. And I really wanted to like it, the way I really liked all of the previous Topping DACs. I double-checked the drivers on my PC, all of the settings, all of the connections, but it is what it is. The sound is just flat and thin, lacking proper dynamics and body. It's kind of the sound you get from small USB DACs like SMSL Idea or Savage DA2. But in this price range, you can easily find better sounding DACs. So I really don't know how to conclude my impressions. This is a very controversial device for me, and probably the most difficult review I had to do so far. It's a highly spec'd device with some great chips inside. You get great build and lots of functions, very good headphone output too. Actually great, not just good. So I think I can recommend it to headphones only listeners that will not use the line out part. On the other hand, if used as a DAC too, hooked to your amp and speakers, it's an underwhelming performer, especially for the price. That would be it for today. Until next time.